I remember so well when I was younger in grade school, when I would pray, my world was rather small. I would pray for a certain type of birthday gift or something for Christmas, or if it was something in school that it would go a certain way, or it's basically what I wanted. My world was really small. I was praying for the Cornhuskers, that they would win on Saturdays. I was praying that the Blue Jays would win, and so forth. The Baltimore Orioles, my favorite baseball team, so forth. Oh, my world was so small. And then as I start growing up, much like yourselves, and you could probably recall as your own prayer has changed over the years, you get into high school or college, and not only does your world open up into all the things that way beyond what you were aware of earlier, but also your prayer starts changing. It's not so much about yourself anymore. Now you're starting to be aware of the needs of others that you just overlooked before. And when you live on your own and you start your own job situations in life, you discover, my goodness, there's so much more. Now I realize not wholly about the world, but I learn about my prayer. I learn about my awareness of God and how limited it was when I was younger, and how God is inviting me to stretch in my prayer. God is inviting me to become aware the needs of others that I had overlooked. And just a simple thing like the health of my family, my parents. When I was younger, I took it for granted. As I'm growing up, the same thing. I took for granted so many things in life that I just expected would be there. It would be automatic almost. And then when I have that loss, whatever it is, it might be a grandparent, say, oh my goodness, or when they're very ill, and you're praying for them to get better, and they don't get better. You wonder about your prayer. You wonder why God didn't answer your prayers. You thought it was you ask, you receive. And then you think, well, if I ask nicely, I'll receive. But again, it doesn't always work that way, does it? Whatever our age in life, God is inviting us to become aware of what He desires for us to see, hear, believe, discover. And He wants us to bring that to Him. He wants to be united with us so that we're walking the same path. And I know for myself it's taken many years to get to that point, and still getting to that point. You don't ever get there. The reason I mention that is this morning when we listen to the Gospel of Matthew, we hear this gospel passage that for many people over the years I've talked to, this is a very difficult passage. We can't understand why Jesus responded the way He did. What Jesus has done is go outside Israel to Tyre and Sidon, to what you might say near modern-day Lebanon. And He's away from what's familiar. He knows Jews do not normally travel there. We don't know why He did that, but we do know as He went there, even there are people faithful. There are people hoping for miracles. There are people who are in need. And so Jesus, as He encounters this Canaanite woman, this woman of the land of Canaan, there He meets her, and first He hears more through the disciples. Lord, Son of David, heal my daughter. And Jesus at first doesn't respond. Then the woman again asks for mercy, asks for forgiveness, asks for the healing of their daughter. And then Jesus seems to be almost rude. He says, you don't give food to the dogs, the foods of those at the table, the children. You don't give it to the dogs. And yes, it seems like a put down. It does seem as if Jesus is rejecting her, that He's rejecting her prayer, her plea. The apostles have said, send her away, she's annoying, this isn't the way it should be. The woman persists, and she just says again, save my daughter. And this time, through it all, Jesus recognizes how intense her faith is, how strong she is, her passion for her daughter. Now, you and I might say, well, that's just understandable. Is that really faith? If you're a parent, if you're a grandparent, you've got the care of a loved one, you know what you want to do to help that child. And here, Jesus recognizes this. Now, again, we could analyze this all kinds of ways. Why is Jesus put off first? Why does he take so long? The bottom line, like so many miracle stories and parables, is what's the point? Don't get caught up in the details so much that you miss the point. And the point is here, Jesus recognizes someone who keeps coming to him and is just asking for healing. And it's such an important lesson for you and me, because sometimes we pray for a long time and we think it's a very good thing, and things get worse rather than better. In fact, sometimes someone you pray for, their health-wise, get worse, and sometimes they die, and you feel so put off by God. He seems so far away. That's the last thing God would want. If the person's not able to live, how will we recognize God answering, coming to us, being with us? Because he does. Because we can say, oh my gosh, I'm going to push away God. You're not doing your part. But he's saying, I am unconditional. I will keep coming to you. We heard in the second reading, God is rich in mercy. He doesn't fade away. We may fade away. We may feel he's not playing by the rules, and then we discover the rules are different than we thought. When I was a little child, I thought if I just prayed enough, I would get what I wanted. Didn't work that way. Maybe sometimes, but usually not. As I was growing up, I thought, well, if I just do it this way, I'll still get what I want. And God must have been smiling all the times. And now, as you and I grow in our faith and understanding of God, we're coming to realize more and more how we do keep praying for those good things. We do, like you as parents, you as grandparents, you as friends, naturally you're praying for them. I do that every morning. I pray for every immediate member of my family, my nephews, my nieces. I pray for very close friends every day. Oh, yes. And I just give them to the Father. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I trust in him. From the worst thing happening to the best thing, I trust him. He's with me. He's with us. He's walking along the way. So this morning, I'd just like to invite you, especially where you've been disappointed, really feeling hurt, feeling God isn't really responding. God doesn't seem to be aware that he is much more than we realize, that he comes to us and he comforts us in the worst of situations. He gives us strength where we didn't think we could have strength, and he's with us where we wonder, how are we supposed to focus? What's our direction? The Canaanite woman wasn't just persisting, she had deep faith. And Jesus recognized that. And he's inviting that of you and me. Every Sunday, every day, in our daily prayer, how we try to live that out, that we just keep deciding, say, Lord, show me, help me, let me come to you. Help me, let you come to me, so that we can be united, that I can feel your strength, that I can feel that you're my rock, that you're my foundation. That's the blessing of faith. That's the gift that Jesus was trying to teach his apostles, and he's still teaching us today. It's part of the gift of faith, knowing we can place whatever the prayer is before the Lord, and he is truly taking that to his heart.